Good morning, y'all. What's up? It's Coach Tay here in the locker room, and sacrifice has been on my mind really quickly. You have to understand that sacrifice and going without is not the same thing. Let me say that again. Sacrifice and not having something is not the same thing. So you might think that you went through a sacrificial period, but you have to understand that sacrifices are intentional. Sacrifices require you to have something and to give something up. A sacrifice requires you to willingly give something up. So you got to possess it first. Because there are people out here who are living above their means at a certain point in their life. Not saying that you shouldn't have these things. Not saying that you won't ever attain them. But again, you have to get there first. So you're confusing a period or a season that you went without having something to that being sacrificial. And it's kind of getting you off track. It's kind of making you miss the mark because it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So let's just say you get your first job and you haven't been working in 3 years. And now that you get a paycheck, you feel like you've sacrificed for 3 years. Not quite the same. Not quite the same. So now you go out and you buy something way above what you really can afford because you haven't been stacking money for 3 years to really afford the things that you really want. So you're confused that you made a sacrifice. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. And I think that that's getting some people off track from your goal because you think you sacrificed some things and you didn't. You went without for a period, but it wasn't by choice. That's the thing. Sacrifice comes from will. From you willing, spiritually, physically, you're willing to go without. You're willing to give something up. So even when it comes to something like fasting and you choose something that doesn't apply to you. So if you're a vegan, you think going without meat is sacrificial? That's your lifestyle. That's your lifestyle. So, or people, do things like, I'm going to fast. I'm not going to have XYZ. Well, did you really have XYZ in the beginning? You say you're going to abstain from alcohol. Well, you only drink on New Year's. Are you really a drinker? Is that really a sacrifice? I don't know, sis. I don't know, bruh. Think about it. Think about what a true sacrifice is. And then think about why you're making the sacrifice. That's a good place to start. Think about why you're actually making the sacrifice. Why the sacrifice needs to be made. What's the end goal? What's the purpose in it? And so if you don't have an end goal and you don't have a purpose, it's pointless.